Fellow Toastmasters. Playground safety kind of seems like a rather innocuous term. Nobody really thinks about it. It's kind of like one of those things where if you're a health safety inspector, everything you see suddenly becomes a health safety issue. If you're a roofer, you drive through a neighborhood and you only see roofs. But if you understand playground safety, all you see are death traps. Seriously though, they're death traps. Most of them. Playground safety does not have any laws. Instead, what it has are guidelines. The guidelines are produced by the American Society for Testing of Materials. You guys may have seen their logo or their initials, the ASTM. It's often on something because it refers to the product being tested. Ladders go through ASTM testing. Rollerblades go through ASTM testing. Everything goes through ASTM testing. It's the breaking points of things, it's the erosion, it's the malleable of something, it's the coefficient of friction. It's all of these different things that they test. Well, ASTM has tested playgrounds. One of the important things to realize about playground safety is that the tests are all reactionary. And this is very important. Playground safety is not precautionary. If playground safety were precautionary, kindergartners would be running around with pillows and football helmets duct taped to their bodies, and yet they'd still break a leg. Playground safety is not designed to prevent injury. Injury is inherent in play. When you see a child go out onto a playground, you cannot stop them from getting hurt. You just can't, because they are playing. Play is an incredible component of development. Whether it's with an animal, whether it's with a child, doesn't matter. Across the entire spectrum of everything, animals play. And children play. They learn developmental skills. They learn how to socialize, how to play, how to do imagination. They'll play doctor, they'll play this, the jungle, there's Tarzan, they're swinging from things. That's what they do. You cannot remove the element of risk from play. However, with playground safety, you can minimize the risk. So the ASTM standards have 3 levels of risk. And these standards are not just exclusive to ASTM. The Consumer Product Safety Commission has a handbook for public playground safety. They took some of the language from ASTM, which is very technical language, dumbed it down, simplified it, and made it accessible for people who are running preschools. Made it accessible for people who are just working in a public works department. A little bit more easier to understand, not as technical and not as detailed. But the combination of the Consumer Product Safety Commission and the ASTM standards have these levels. The first level is going to be pinch, crush, shear points, things where a child can scrape themselves, crush a finger, shear off some skin, something that's not fatal. It's not a maiming injury, it's not anything like that. So there's a lot of tools and a lot of toolkits and things to help look at this. If you have a movable bridge, the bars on the bridge bottom have to be a certain distance. Because if a child put their finger in that and somebody on the other end started jumping, shouldn't be able to crush their finger. The second level is where you get into more bigger injuries. Breaks, and loss of, no, just breaks. Breaks are difficult because as a child, you're running along, you trip. It doesn't matter if you're tripping onto a feather bed. If you land wrong and twist your arm in a certain way, it will break, period. But it shouldn't be a cause that can be prevented. So that's kind of that second level of injuries. The third level is the loss of life, loss of limb, or loss of sense. Loss of sense is a little bit more difficult to describe because if a child falls on a handle of a digger, you know those little digger toys where they're doing their thing and digging? Old playgrounds just have like a bike handle on that. New playgrounds, you'll see the handle is actually a loop. The problem was that a child would be running around the playground, trip, and fall on the handle. The bike handle style, they could fall on that, lose an eye. a child did fall on it and lose their eye. Remember, everything is reactionary. Everything in the standards is because a child did get hurt. It's very technical. One of the instances of a level 1 issue is a bolt that is above horizontal by even 1 degree. If it has more than 2 threads exposed, it is a failure. Because a child has managed to get a hoodie string or a coat piece caught on this bolt that is 1 degree above horizontal on the 2 threads that are exposed and has managed to choke themselves. It's very serious business. But if the bolt is at horizontal or below horizontal, the 2 threads are not an issue, because no child has ever hurt themselves on a bolt that has more than 2 threads exposed at an angle below horizontal. It's not considered a hook. Playground safety is a big deal, and it can be kind of overwhelming when you start to actually look at what the ASTM standards are. So most people, when they learn about playground safety from the get-go, they're like, all right, this is just way too complicated. Let's leave it to the professionals. I say no. There's one thing that you guys can do. 70% of all injuries that occur on playgrounds are from falls. If you have a child, grandchild, niece, nephew, and you go to a playground and you see something in the play area, the mulch area or anything like that, a rock, a bottle, anything of that nature that a child could fall on, just pick it up and throw it out. That will get rid of that risk. It will reduce the risk of injury on a playground by 70%. Something very small can do something very big. And it's just nice to be able to realize playgrounds these days are built rather safely. But things happen. Deer, they'll kick a rock in. Kids kick gravel around. If you see it, just fix it. It's really easy. Playground safety, it's kind of a big deal. I'll leave you with that.